You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on.
Today's a great day in geometry. Make sure you have lesson 10.3 out if your parents printed it for you. And if they didn't print it for you, then you should have out a sheet of binder paper and really be following along, and maybe try to draw some of the triangles or utilize them on your screen. You might have heard of the terms equilateral, isosceles, and scalene when you were in 3rd grade. I think kids told me that in previous years, but they might be buried deep in your memory, and I'm going to try to pull them out. And I'm going to repeat those terms as many times as possible so they get stuck in your brain. Today, we're going to classify triangles by the length of their sides. We're not going to look today at the acute, obtuse, acute. We're not looking at size of angles today. Today we are looking at length of sides. I'm going to give you little tips to help. A triangle can be classified by the length of its sides. This triangle is called an equilateral triangle. Lateral, the flat sides are all equal. So even though that's not spelled the way that you normally spell equal, it's normally spelled like this, you can hear the word equal in its name. So an equilateral triangle, I left off the word triangle, is a triangle that has every single side the same length. When you mark triangles for same length, you give them tick marks, and 1 tick mark, 1 tick mark, 1 tick mark means that they're the same length. That's equilateral. Isosceles. You might want to try and say it. It's really fun. Isosceles. Go ahead, say it. Isosceles. Isosceles triangle is a triangle that has 2 sides the same length. I can see 6 centimeters, and 6 centimeters are the same length. So I'm going to give them the same number of tick marks. But 3 centimeters is different, and I'm going to show that by giving it 2 tick marks. So an isosceles has 2 the same and 1 different. And I like to remember this by a silly sentence. I saw Celise, a boy, with my 2 eyes. And I even sometimes like to draw eyes on the 2 sides that are the same length to remind me that I saw with my eyes, Celise with my 2 eyes reminds me isosceles is the name of this triangle. I'm probably going to say that over and over today, because if we were at school, that's what I would do to really get that in your head. Scalene. A scalene triangle is like a scale. It's like you weighed different people. So I'm going to draw a little scale over here. Scales, I mean. Okay, so these are supposed to be muscles and a little bit of a bigger person. So if 3 people get on a scale, generally they don't weigh the same amount. Like this person gets on the scale, maybe they weigh 30 pounds. This person gets on the scale, maybe they weigh 40 pounds. This person gets on the scale, maybe they weigh 50 pounds. And clearly, you know I'm talking about a scale that you weigh yourself on. So the way I remember a scalene triangle is I think of a scale that you stand on to weigh yourself, and I think of the chances of weighing 3 people, and they're probably not going to weigh the same exact amount of pounds. That's very unlikely. So transferring that information to triangles, a scalene triangle is a triangle that has every side a different length. And I mark those sides like this. I see 4 centimeters. I don't see another 4 centimeters. I see 7 centimeters, so I give it a different amount of tick marks. I don't see anything else that's 7 centimeters. I see 9 centimeters. So in this case, the way I show visually that they're different lengths is by giving each side a different amount of tick marks. So the goal when we're done with this lesson is that you understand that what an equilateral triangle looks like, all sides equal. Isosceles looks like isosceles with my 2 eyes, 2 sides the same length, and a scalene triangle, like getting on a scale. Every side is different, like 3 people won't weigh the same amount. Activity 1. If you're doing this paper on your own and you want to try to draw these, I don't mean on your own, I mean on binder paper, you want to try to draw these out, great, because definitely participating is a great way to absorb information and be a learner. Identify triangles that have 3 sides the same length, equilateral, 2 sides the same length, isosceles triangle, isosceles with my 2 eyes, or no sides the same length. Put 3 people on a scale and they will likely not weigh the same amount. Okay, so let's try to identify these. Use the triangle color guide to color the triangles below. We'll use red if a triangle has 3 sides the same length. We'll use blue if the triangle has 2 sides the same length. And we'll use orange if they have 0 sides the same length. So first, go ahead and color every triangle that you see with 3 sides the same length. I can see 8, 8, 8 has 3 sides the same length. I would call that equilateral. I can see 3, 3, 3 centimeters. Also, 3 sides the same length. Also equilateral. These are both equilateral triangles. So now I'm going to look for triangles that have 2 sides the same length, and I'm going to color those blue. Only 2 sides the same length. I can see here 9 millimeters, 9 millimeters, and 5 millimeters. This has 2 sides the same length. I'm going to color it blue. And I saw Celeste with my 2 eyes. I love to draw eyeballs on the 2 sides that are the same length to remind me I saw Celeste with my 2 eyes. It's just a silly way to remember. It's called isosceles. Also over here, I see 2 7s, 2 7 inches. Those are my eyeballs. And a 4, and the 4 is definitely different. I'm also going to call this isosceles. Now I have to color orange, what has 0 sides the same length. I see a 7, 8, 10 for length in meters that has no sides the same length. It would be like putting 3 friends on a scale. Now I'm not going to call it a scale triangle, but I am going to call it a scalene triangle. And same here, 4, 5, 6 centimeters, no sides the same length. It would be like putting 3 friends on a scale. It'd be unlikely that they would weigh the same amount, so we're going to call it a scalene triangle. Try this. You can go ahead and try from what you learned yesterday and today. Do the try this section on your own. Name the triangle that has no sides the same length. Well, 5, 5, 5 does not match no sides the same length, so it must be 12, 13, 5. No number matches, so I'm going to call this triangle B. Name the triangle that has 3 sides the same length. 5, 5, 5, all centimeters. Triangle A. go ahead and try to give these a name before I post the names on here. And by name, I mean a classification. Call it a scalene, an isosceles, or a right triangle. Triangle A is for sure an equilateral triangle. Equal numbers. Triangle B is for sure a scalene triangle. Friends on a scale won't likely weigh the same amount, and these 4 sides are not the same length. They are scalene. It's a scalene triangle. So this is when the Go Math program, the Think Central program, was going to teach you the names of the triangles. I tried to give you a pre-lesson on the previous page. Hopefully that will be helpful. An equilateral triangle is a triangle that has 3 equal length sides. They should really have the word length there. An isosceles triangle, isosceles, with my 2 eyes, my 2 sides the same length, is an isosceles triangle. 2 equal length sides. Scalene. Scalene is a triangle that has no equal length sides. 4 centimeters, 5 centimeters, 6, scale, scalene. Okay, so that's just a review from the other side. Activity 2. You're going to use the Venn diagram at the bottom to classify these triangles. Instead of a size of angle name, today we're classifying triangles by the length of their sides. I'm actually going to model 1 or 2 first. So the first thing I want to see is that I'm looking at the numbers along the sides, and I can see they're all different. And if they're all different, you can look at the top of your paper. Mine's hidden. It's a scalene triangle. So when I name it in here, this is called naming the triangle. I put the symbol for a triangle and the letters of the vertices. Although this was not drawn correctly, I have to go with the numbers here. And I see a 4 and a 4 are the same, and the 2 is different. It's drawn wrong, by the way. So this is going to be called an isosceles triangle, because isosceles with my 2 eyes, my 2 sides the same length and 1 different. Same, different. Triangle, UTV. Any order you want. Go ahead and use the numbers to help you complete this table, and then unpause the video when you're done to see how you did. Maybe it was bothering you that there weren't an equal amount in each of the circles below, but it's true. 6, 6, 6, all the same, equilateral, FGH. 3, 4, 5, all different, MNO, scalene. 11, 13, 14, all different, SQR, scalene. 9, 9, 9, all the same, DEF, equilateral. And I think I forgot this one. 6, 6, 6, all the same length, triangle FGH. And if you want to score yourself, you can give yourself a score out of 6. How many did you get right on your own? So I think we're at the point where you should be able to do this on your own. So I'm actually on page 409, and I think you should pause and start at number 1 and get all the way to number 11 and see if you can do this on your own. And if you can't, then watch me starting this page, and when you think you have a grasp on things, then pause and try on your own. Number 1, name the triangle at the right. We're going to classify the triangle at the right, actually. We're going to write either equilateral, equal, all sides the same length, isosceles, isosceles with my 2 eyes, 2 sides the same length, or scalene. 3 friends get on a scale and no one weighs the same amount. Okay, how many equal sides does the triangle have? Well, I can see 4 and 4 are equal sides. but 3 is a different amount. So this has 2 sides the same length. Isosceles with my 2 eyes. This is an isosceles triangle. 2, 3, and 4. Name the triangle with the word equilateral, isosceles, and scalene. All sides the same length, equilateral. All sides equal. 3, 4, 5. No sides the same length, scalene, like a scale. 2 sides the same length, 1 different, 2 the same, 1 different. Isosceles. Number 5, 3 sides the same. Those are easy to identify. Number 6, 2 sides are the same, 1's different, isosceles. Number 7, all different, 3, 4, 6, no side the same length, scalene. And the last part, name the triangle by the lengths of its sides. Write the length of side classifications given here. We don't even need to look at the triangle. We can just look at the numbers. 12, 12, 12. Equilateral, all sides the same length. 4, 6, 6. 2 sides the same length. Isosceles. Number 10, 9, 5, 7. No sides the same length. Scalene. 14, 7, 14. 2 sides the same length. Isosceles. Hopefully you're starting to really get the difference between equilateral, all the same, isosceles with my 2 eyes, 2 sides the same, and all sides different. If you want a challenge, you can do page 410, take a picture of it, have your parents email it to me, they can send it to me through Remind, you can try to send it to me on your own Chromebook, and I will take a look at it and see how you did. So this is what page 410 looks like. There's some word problems. Think smarter, go deeper, mathematical practice, and mark all that apply. And remember when we were talking about the Smarter Balance test, which we're not taking this year, but you'll be taking next year. These problems here on that last page in the math book are always the problems that appear on those assessments. So that would be a good one to do if you're not going to do the top ones. Have a great day, and I'll see you back in the e-learning playlist tomorrow.